And hello, everybody. Welcome to Hairyman, Hoaxes, and Hoodwinks. I am so happy to be here this week. I took a little break last week and now I'm ready to go. So let's see who we've got in the chat real quick. And woof, we're full. We've got Outcast and Raptor Blue, Michael Hayward, welcome. Lester, of course. Thank you so much for the support. There's B. Lynn. Man, Beelin has been around and been my friend for so long. I appreciate you being here. So tonight, little bit of a controversial special guest tonight, Mr. Rick Dyer. And I'm only going to ask two requests of the chat that you remain civil and clean, keep it clean. And try to hold your questions till a little bit later in the show, and I'll let you know when I'm going to start taking questions, okay? Because I can't follow the chat and follow the interview and everything all at the same time. It's a one-woman show over here, okay? So if you can put your questions in caps, that'll help me find them better. So I will definitely appreciate if you can do that for me. And let's go ahead and bring on Mr. Rick Dyer. Welcome, Rick.
Hey, how you doing?
So happy you could be here and talk about all your adventures in Bigfooting. Let's put it that way. So I was doing a little further research on you, and Texas Monthly had you pegged as the world's most infamous Bigfoot hunter.
Yes, I really enjoyed traveling with him throughout the tour because he actually traveled with us throughout the tour, and it was a blast.
Oh my goodness.
But first, I do want to say that Tim Fasano and Dallas Gilbert,
Mm-hmm.
as we know, they passed, and I want to give shots out to their fans and family, uh, and I always believe that they never got a proper sent off from the Bigfoot community, because I will tell you that both of them I tried to get to hoax. Tim Fasano, I tried my damnedest for him to hoax, but he never did.
Wow.
And we remained good friends throughout the years. But he was one of the people who spent his own money and went out and really looked for the skunk ape Bigfoot. And also Dallas Gilbert of Dallas and Wayne. Dallas said he saw monster Bigfoots that's 20 foot tall or 30 foot tall. In his mind, he did. But I just wanted to give a shout out to those two because I feel that they never got the send off they deserved.
Yes, definitely. No matter what happens in the Bigfoot world, we don't want people to, die or not not be considered human. We're all human. We all deserve some ounce of dignity when it comes to, losing your life or anything like that. You still need to respect that part of everything. Um, so yeah, thank you. We will. Hopefully they are resting comfortably now. Um, so I want to talk to you about 2008 from the very beginning. Start me from the very
Your show's
beginning.
not that long.
Well, I got 2 hours to fill. Let's just fill it with as much as I can. 2008, you and Matthew Whitton were hiking North Georgia.
Now,
What happened?
now,
Is that even true?
now, you may not like what I have to say, as like we never talked before this
We have
show as
not.
far
Yeah,
as
we have not.
what I was going to say.
Mhm.
Thank you, Lynn, for that. I appreciate it. Let me turn these comments off because I get sidetracked pure like crazy.
Oh, I do too, and that's why I let everybody know I'm not even gonna be looking at those until later.
um, so it is really it's really difficult for me to go back to 2008 and then 2012 because things that happen there that no one knows about. And the Bigfoot community doesn't care. Because I will tell you that I've been in the Bigfoot community for a lot of years, and I've met all the big people, and I tell you that very few of them actually believe in Bigfoot. And then I will tell you that when real evidence comes forth in the Bigfoot community, all the top people are instantly non-believers. All top people are basically jealous that if they didn't find it or their buddies didn't find it, then absolutely it's not real. And that is what I learned in the community. 2008 wound up as a hoax, as y'all all know, with the Bigfoot in the freezer. But it didn't start off as a hoax. And I'm going to tell you the real story right now. We were walking through the woods in Fall Creek Falls, Tennessee, and we saw a carcass laying beside a river, a stream. And we went over to it, and it looked like a Bigfoot to me and Matt. And we didn't drag it out of the woods. We didn't do anything. We just left it there. And those are the days where every cell phone didn't have a camera. And I didn't have one. He didn't have one. And we left it there. Because it was really too decomposed to even drag out. So what we decided to do, that's what brought up Bigfoot. Bigfoot was no part of our lives before that day. And that's what happened. And that's as real as it gets. There was a Bigfoot there, but we never drug it out of the woods. Now, we wanted to make some money as we were driving home from Fall Creek Falls, Tennessee, back to Atlanta, Georgia. And then we was debating on going back and getting a part of it or getting something, but at that time we really didn't know how important that was. And that decision that we made will always put me down as a hoaxer because there is no proof of 2008
Mhm.
that even happened. Nor right now do I care because I have other things going on in my life. That's good.
Mhm.
So Bigfoot is far away from my mind, but I tell you that did happen. Now on the way home, we started to think, well, hey, well, that started to get us into Bigfoot. And when we were getting into Bigfoot, uh, we started to say some things and plan some things, and we planned a video on YouTube. And when we planned a video on YouTube, we decided to say, just build up like we have something great, we have something is going to absolutely blow your mind. And we showed a freezer and we showed a tarp and we showed everything that, and all that just wasn't true.
Mhm.
There was never no Bigfoot in the freezer. There was never nothing. Um, the realness ended. It started at Fall Creek Falls, Tennessee, and it ended at Fall Creek Falls, Tennessee. And the video did not start gaining traction at all. We only had 22 views.
Mhm.
And what happened was that Matt Whitton got shot. He was a police officer, and he
Right.
got shot at a robbery at a Crystal restaurant in Stockbridge, Georgia. And the news crew wanted to interview him about where he was shot or the circumstances. And he said that he would give an interview, but only if they talk about the discovery that me and my friend made. And that is how it got to mainstream news. It did not get to mainstream news or attention because of Steve Coles, because of Tom Biscardi, because of anybody like that.
Mhm.
It got to mainstream because it started because Matt Whitton got shot in a robbery at a Crystal restaurant in Stockbridge, Georgia. So after that, um, he got out of the hospital and phone calls poured in from everywhere. I got a call from Matt Moneymaker, uh, and he was a total cunt. Um, but he wanted to be involved too. Now, at that time, to be fair, he did not know that it was a hoax. He thought it may have been real, but he wanted to see it and verify it. And we knew that we could not let Matt Moneymaker see shit because we knew that Matt Moneymaker had a big mouth and he would go out and tell everybody.
Mhm.
So at that time, we started wanting to rewind because this thing was getting big. And we wanted to rewind and calm stuff down. And that didn't happen. Um, we got a phone call from Steve Coles. Steve Coles says, I know the perfect guy. And he started to build up Tom Biscardi like he was like the absolute king. So, so that's what happened there. Steve Coles actually um, introduced myself and Matt to Tom Biscardi, and that's how we connected. And then Tom Biscardi calls us, and the first thing that Tom Biscardi says is, guys, I know the Bigfoot isn't real, but we can make a ton of money. That's the first thing Tom Biscardi says. And me and Matt looked at each other and we was like nervous about letting him in. But we looked at his past too. And he had to be put in the cages and all this stuff. So he said, okay, well, this is probably the guy. And he's a Las Vegas promoter. And Tom Biscardi is very funny. He is a nice guy, and so is Steve Coles. Now, I am not here to bash on anyone. I'm not here to bash on Steve. I'm not here to bash on Tom Biscardi. But I'm telling you, like it is, how it happened. And so basically, Tom Biscardi flew from California down to Georgia. And he's like, guys, you have to make a body. You've got to. So
it actually came from Biscardi's mouth that you have to have the body. You have
yeah,
to.
Yeah. It said it's not going to work if you don't have anything. And the first time he came down, he didn't see anything because there was nothing to see. And we came up with the idea of a freezer, of a deep freezer. And we went to a store called Brandsmart USA in Stockbridge, Georgia. And we bought a deep freezer. Now, we didn't know anything else, like we didn't know how to build a body. So he basically gave us some money and told us to build a body. He got, we found a possum on the street on Fitzgerald Road, I believe in Jonesboro, Georgia. And we cut open the dead possum and we got something out of its stomach, like a piece of stomach lining or something. Then we put it in a bag, and Tom Biscardi took it, says that I can make this work. I was like, okay, that's cool. So he went and bought a little freezer for it, like it was really important. I can just see him going through the airport telling everybody how important this freezer is. But that's the first trip. The second trip, we've already made the body. And let me tell you something, making a Bigfoot body is crazy, because what I did was I found the best suit out there. It was from Horror-Dome, and it was the Bigfoot suit, but we needed to modify it like crazy. So as the body was being finished, Tom came back and he's like, oh no, we can't do that. We have to go to AutoZone to buy some spray paint. So we went to AutoZone to buy some black spray paint, and he sprayed it, and he says, okay, that looks good. Now let's pull this tongue, because we had to use real animals. We used a pig. We used a cow's head. We broke the cow's jaw. And if you ever cut a tongue out of a cow or broke his jaw, it is extremely difficult. So if you ever decided to make another Bigfoot hoax, just be aware and have some big tools to cut their jaws and pull their tongue out of their throat, because it's difficult. So we cut the cow. Now the cow was already dead. We did not kill a cow to do this. We just went to a meat market, and we got cow, a pig, and goat and goat balls because we thought goat balls was the right size for a Bigfoot because they're big balls. If you ever seen a goat, you know their balls are big. So that's why we use goats. So we had to give them balls and penis and stuff, and we had to make the anatomy right, like the heart had to be in the heart place and the stomach had to be in the stomach place. So what we did was we laid the pig in, and it was a big pig, and we tore the costume and we reached inside the pig and grabbed his guts and intestines and pulled it out so you could not see the lining of the costume. And on pictures, you will say, "Oh, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake." But if you was there looking at the thing, it was extremely, extremely hard. So, that's what happened there. And we started to freeze the freezer, and this is something that Tom told the truth about. He said that the freezer was that we filled the freezer up and expected it to freeze, but we got a frost-free. Yeah. So now it's full of water. It's the Bigfoot's there. It's not going to work. So we had to do it in increments. By that time, the freezer broke. So we had to take everything back out, go to BrandsMart, switch it out, get a new freezer, take it back, and then we froze it in increments. And we wanted to put it in a block of ice. And we did 3 inches, we froze it. 3 more inches, froze it. 3 more inches, froze it until it was a complete solid block of ice. That a drill with a drill bit was difficult to get in there. And in person, it looked absolutely awesome. And Tom checked the box, and he says, "Look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring you 50 large, $50,000 cash, and we're going to take the body and we're going to film it and we're going to make it a whole big scene." I'm like, okay, that sounds good to me. So he sent his son, a guy with a beard, which I think has passed away too, God rest his soul, and 2 or 3 other people and a film crew and an Indian or a Native American. And they came down there and they got the body and they filmed it. And they took it back. Now, every contract that we've had, everything that was written that we had to sign was done up by Steve Coles. And this is why I assumed that Steve Coles was 100% involved, because every contract, everything came from Steve Coles. Steve Coles has denied it to this day, but I'm just telling you like it is right now. So we had a press conference in Palo Alto, California. So we flew out there, and it was absolutely nuts. It was freaking nuts. There were so many people there. At that time, they had the Scott Peterson trial going on, and a news guy said, "Look, there's more cameras here than the Scott Peterson trial." I'm like, oh boy. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, where does this end? Like,
did you have thoughts of going back on all that, on just trying
no.
to get out of it?
Oh, no.
You
I
were
could.
in 100%.
No, man. I was in, Nikki. I was in. And so we did it. And we did the press conference without the body because the body was on the way to Kentucky, where I don't know what they were supposed to store it. That's what they were supposed to do. And I don't know what happened internally with Tom Biscardi, his sons, Steve Coles, and I really don't know. But what I can do is I can tell you this. After the press conference, Tom Biscardi went into our room at our hotel and he said, "Okay, guys, it's done." And then the phone rang. And he said it was Steve Coles on the phone. And they were arguing about money. And money, as I found out throughout the years, is the root of all evil. So they were arguing about money, and basically he couldn't control Steve Coles because what he said, that Steve Coles wanted more money, and he wasn't going to give him no money yet. And
this was all just Biscardi's money.
Yeah. Well, Biscardi's
how did he get that money? Where? I never figured him to have, like, a bank full of money.
His wife and like his wife is successful. And Tom is successful. Tom has a knack of getting money. Don't you think for one second that Tom Biscardi is a stupid man? Tom Biscardi is not a stupid man. And no one could hoax him like he claimed. Tom Biscardi is a very slick, professional person that knows how to drum up business and to get money. Tom Biscardi is a very smart man. So basically, at the end of the day, he said he couldn't control Steve Coles, and he had a recorder on him, and then he laid it on the table, and he says, "Look, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get you on tape, you and Matt on tape, saying that you duped me. Okay? That y'all tricked me, and y'all going to go down in history as tricking the world's greatest Bigfoot hunter. And y'all will have clout there, and I will have, and I can get out of this mess. So because it's going to implode." So then Steve Coles calls us, right? And he's like threatening us and all this, and me and Matt is looking at each other like, okay, this is being recorded. They're trying to save face. They're trying to freaking get themselves out of involvement. But seeing what I've seen, and I was there, I am pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that Steve Coles, Tom Biscardi, I know Tom Biscardi for 1,000%. And Steve Coles did all the paperwork and everything and was there and introduced us. And it's just, you don't introduce someone, and this has been playing in my head for years and years and years. You just don't introduce someone to a man that has been involved in hoaxes like crazy in the past. You just don't do it. And the first thing he said to us was, "I can make you a lot of money. I know it's not real." Like, it's just common sense. But Steve Coles has never said to me that he was in on it. So,
well, what were the consequences? Were there any consequences after the whole thing came out?
No, there was zero.
It just washed.
They tried to get us in trouble with the Clayton County Police, and the Clayton County detectives were laughing because they said, "Look, here it's 100% that every one of y'all was involved. Like this was a hoax that imploded internally, and no one committed no one broke any laws." So after the detectives talked to everybody, they said at the end of the day, everybody was involved. Everyone. Myself, Steve Coles, Tom Biscardi, everybody. That's exactly what they told my attorney. And then it disappeared forever. And that is what happened.
Well, I know it made the Time, it made Discovery News and Fox News and CNN and
Al Jazeera. We were all over the place.
all over. I saw Hawaii News. There were retractions and all kinds of stuff going on. So I thought, could they sue you? But there wasn't a crime, like you said. It was just flat out hoax.
It was a flat out hoax, and I took that experience and I moved it up to 2012 when I needed to move it up to 2012.
When did you start building your team tracker? Was that directly after 2008?
Oh yes, like I didn't know anything about Bigfoot until 2008. Like I really didn't care about Bigfoot until 2008, and then I was thrown into the light. Self-inflicted though, self-inflicted. Like I'm not gonna say, look, I am a man, and I will take responsibility for the crap I done, and I'm telling you exactly what happened. Now there's a lot of little parts that is being left out for the sake of time, but I'm telling you the most important parts of what happened. And 2008 was big, but 2012 was a lot bigger. As far as media and money goes, because what we've made off of 2008. Now, coincidentally, we did try to go back to Fall Creek Falls and retrieve something, and nothing was there. But that is only after how crazy it was in the Bigfoot community. Like the Bigfoot community, oh my God, like I never knew anything like that. And I never knew the inner workings and and get a bone or get a finger or get something and this and that. So it was all new to me. But that's
And
what
Matthew
happened.
just got out of the whole thing, right? Did he suffer any consequences? Because was he
Okay.
still a police officer, or was he already out?
Okay. I can't talk on Matt what he's
Mhm.
doing currently, but I will tell you that he was fired from the Clayton County Police Department, and they were sued. They had to hire him back and give him a settlement because they had no right to fire him. There was they did it because they were pissed off because they got calls all night long from all around the world over this Bigfoot. We broke absolutely no laws, and they fired him on national TV. And I don't know if y'all knew that, but they fired him on national TV. But they had no right to fire him, period. And that's what the judge ruled really fast. That look, guys. So basically, they said the chief said in court and on TV that you lied about Bigfoot. So what goes to say you're not going to lie about a person speeding? And the judge remark was, asked the chief, have you ever told your kids about Santa Claus? And he says, yes. He said, have you ever told them about the tooth fairy? He said, yes. At that time, I knew Bigfoot was real, but I'm not going to step in and do anything like that and put my foot in my mouth when that was going on for Matt. And he says, well, how can you say that your speeding ticket is not good because you have told people about Santa Claus? Santa Claus is not real. There is nobody that comes and lands on your house and puts gifts under the tree. And so he got hired back. He got a settlement for that, and he got a settlement for his hand. And now he's off living the life.
Wow. Okay. So there's your conference.
Yeah, that's the conference.
And now you start having a team.
Well, do you want to get the questions off the 08 first?
Sure, we can do that. Okay, everybody. I'm going to the comments. So now's your time if you have a question about the 08 hoax. You can go ahead and put those in the chat, and I'm going to see them, and we'll get Rick to answer those.
And no questions are off limits with me.
Squatch Talk says, so lying pays off.
Sometimes it does, Squatch Talk. Sometimes it does, but here's the funny part. The funny part is y'all look up to these people that I know personally, and I could tell you that they're pieces of shit. And I could tell you they don't believe in Bigfoot. And I could tell you they never had a Bigfoot experience. And I can tell you it's just because of the money. So lying does pay off. It's just I tell you the truth. I don't try to hide it. There was a Bigfoot laying by the river, but that's it. That's it. The rest was an absolute hoax. 100%.
What's your relationship with Richter? We were just talking about that.
Richter is another one that really don't believe in Bigfoot. He just does it for publicity. He wants to be famous so bad. He had a stint on a show, and he just thinks that he's a superstar, and he just can't let it go and just be him. If he just calms down and be's him and not someone fake, then Richter would do fine. But Bigfoot is in the way that Richter is going to be famous.
So for 2008, did you make anything out of that at all?
Well, I made a total of about $70,000 or $80,000 in 2008, but the notoriety I gained was absolutely priceless, and that really came through in 2012. But for this hoax, 70 or 80,000.
That was way more than I thought. For the 08 one.
For the 08, yes.
Yeah.
And if I knew what I knew in 2012, then I could have got more. But I was green then.
You said you saw a real Bigfoot, but put a video up saying you know they are not real.
Huh?
What? You said you saw a real Bigfoot, but put a video up saying you know they are not real. Why?
Well, we will get to that when we
kind of later. That's kind of later.
Yeah, that's a later question, Lester.
Somebody questioning their phone, that all the phones had cameras. Rick, what's this one? The real, well, he did. He said he went back and there wasn't nothing there. So how long was that? What is that time span from the time you initially was in Tennessee and then when you got back over there?
About 3 months.
3 months. The original investor who supplied the $50K, that would have been Fasano. I mean, Biscardi.
That was his partner at that time. I called him the loan shark. I don't remember his name. But Tom Biscardi could have came up with that easy from his own bank account.
Even with all that Snapple? I'm sorry. That was
with all that Snapple.
Okay, we answered
Cameras
that
have
one.
been on cell phones since the 2000s, but I didn't have one. I didn't start using a touch screen phone until 2010.
I can't remember what I had in 2008. Do you think if
I couldn't even check? I didn't know a phone could check emails until 2010, and I was amazed.
I don't know. My first phone was in 2000, and it was one of those you had to put the thing all the way up and flip it all.
I had a Nextel. I had a Nextel phone and it didn't have a camera. Or I don't think it did, or I never used it. But it was like the beep phones, beep beep. It's like a radio phone. I mean, they don't have those now, but it was called a Nextel, and it had it was basically for work.
Do you think if I claimed to have shot Santa and had his body in my freezer and provided pics of animal guts wearing Santa outfit, that I may get rightfully fired from a tax-funded job? Yeah.
Well, look, Jeff. I know Bigfoot is real. Okay, but given the situations that we were in, that no one was going to say anything, and let's be honest. You've got to be honest with yourself. Like, what proof is there besides a bunch of hoaxes? What absolutely proof is there 100% except what's in my mind or what's in your mind when you had a sighting? What physical proof there is that Bigfoot exists? Like the Smithsonian said, guess what? The Smithsonian Institute says Bigfoot does not exist, which I know is bullshit. You know is bullshit, but it don't exist to the real world. You ask anybody outside of our circles about Bigfoot, they're going to laugh at you. Like, come on now, let's be real.
Right. How can that be loused up so badly? Because you never had a body to begin with?
What?
How can a real Bigfoot body found turn into a fake situation?
Stupid.
Well, he wasn't a Bigfoot
Not
at the
naive.
time. Yeah.
if I saw a Bigfoot now, then different situations would take place. Like I would do things a lot differently at this moment in time right now.
Oops, the whole chat just moved. Okay.
Respectfully, you're talking about being honest when you admitted you wasn't. Well, at that time, I had something to gain about not being honest, and I gained it 1,000%. Now, I don't give a hell. Like I have nothing to gain. I have nothing to profit from. There is nothing. There is a. Do you think? Oh well, this is going to make Rick Dyer look good in the Bigfoot community? Fuck the Bigfoot community. I don't give a shit. That's the difference. I don't care, and I never did.
Well, who is lying about seeing Bigfoot and having experiences? They ain't gonna do nothing. What other researchers? Is that what you're saying, Kurt? Who out there is not telling the truth? Uh-oh. Did I lose him? Give us a second, folks. I think, Rick, you froze up on me. Okay, we'll give him a second to drop out and come back in. Let's see, that might be him trying to mess. Oh, his power went out, so he is coming back on right now. Just give him a sec. And we'll let him do that. Okay. Well, that gives me a second here. I'm going to leave it right there so I don't lose my place. Thanks, B-Lynn. Okay, so if I missed any of your questions and you know I missed it, go ahead and repost them, okay? And I'll try to get to them the best I can. It's a lot of stuff, okay, that we're trying to get through. So, soon as he gets his power back on and he restores, because you have to reboot your computer and everything when that happens. I want people to know that I am being I'm trying to keep myself away from. I just want him to say what he has to say, okay? I am not for Rick Dyer. I'm not against Rick Dyer at this point. I do not agree with what he's done. He took advantage of a lot of people. But I too was, during that time he committed all these, I was following him and watching what he was doing. And at the same time, you have to, if you fell for any of his antics, that's kind of on you. I knew all his shit was fake. I didn't give him any money. I know a lot of people are a little more gullible, but you really have to watch yourself and watch what's going on in the community, and don't put all, everything you've got into one basket right away. And this just proves it. He does not care what he did, because he was doing what he was doing for the gain. He wasn't doing it for anybody else. He was just doing it for any type of monetary gain or anything, he could up himself. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people like that. We wish there wasn't, but it's like this in all kinds of different communities. You go to you pick the topic, okay? And there's Facebook groups about it. And they're going to have the same kind of issues and clicks and things that are going on just like we do. So, it doesn't make it better, doesn't help our situation at all. And it gets everybody mad. It gets me mad. Hence, why do you think I'm doing Hairyman hoaxes and hoodwinks? It's because I'm tired of seeing this over and over and over again. Why does he do it? He didn't care. He didn't care. He doesn't care. It was opportunity and he took it. And I mean, I hope he really does make it back on, because 2012 is where things get really crazy. And yeah, I know, B. I've made lots of comments that I didn't care what Rick Dyer was doing, because I knew he was fake and he was my Bigfoot soap opera every day. What crazy, I'd wake up, what crazy shit is Rick Dyer doing today? That's how I took it. It wasn't any skin off my back to follow Rick Dyer, to see what he was doing, just like it's not for me to follow anybody else in the Bigfoot community. I think a lot of us get very attached to the community. You get to believing so much and following people to the point where, and that could be a really good thing for a lot of people to do that. But you have to be careful. You never know what's going to happen down the road. or what could happen. And we don't know. There's the proof's not out there. Unless you know her and you ran into a Bigfoot. But other than that, a Bigfoot doesn't exist. So, okay, let me see what's going on now. And okay, he's still trying to start back up. He's hoaxing me right now. He's not hoaxing me right now. Oh, by not being on the show? Yeah, probably. But I saw the lights go out on the back of his. Everything was going out, so something's happening. For 70 grand. Okay, what are you saying? Oh, shoot. See, I clicked out of it. Now I'm not going to know where it was up in the chat. Hate to say it, but for 70 grand, I would have to think a lot about whether to do or not. Saying it's all good, he did it, but it's still. I had no clue he made money off the first one. I didn't really check up into that. But let's see. We have gotten all the way to right here. So who watched Shooting Bigfoot before you came to see my show? A lot of people. Oh, he's back. It's back. There you are.
Sorry about that. My internet went out, and now I'm having to
Restart.
I had to tether it or whatever
Yeah.
you need to do off this phone.
Yeah.
Like, hey, now I have a good camera, okay, folks?
I was actually worried about the internet today myself, so I'm gonna knock on wood and move on. Yeah. However, I lost my place where I was at because I kept going. It had to do with the question about other people. Who said it? It was
Kirk says, I'm not mad at him, only hurt himself. To tell you the truth, Kirk, it didn't hurt me at all. I mean, it gave me exactly what I wanted. Let's see. Tell us who's lying about seeing Bigfoot in heaven. Well, man, like I said before, because I already answered this, that when you're in the moment and there is actually something that you can benefit from it as far as Bigfoot goes, yeah, there's nothing wrong with lying about Bigfoot, about entertainment, about fun stuff, and I enjoyed it. But now there's nothing for me to gain. Now it's over with. My run in Bigfoot is absolutely over with. So it is what it is, and I have nothing to lie about or hoax about or anything like that. This is just me. I was asked to come on and tell the truth in my own words, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Before the Bigfoot body reveal, they did a video in the woods of Georgia purporting to show Bigfoot. It was an awful blob squatch. Whatever happened to that? Was that part of you?
I can't remember of us doing. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yeah, and you're right, Stephen. It was awful. What we did was we made the Horror Dome look so much money because they had free advertisement everywhere, and they sent us a free Bigfoot costume. And what we did, and this was after the press conference and stuff, and after this was a little bit after everything, and we was trying to keep something going, and we did go in the woods and take some video and photos far away, and it was a pathetic attempt to keep it going.
Wow.
We also did some videos of us laying tarps down and with the tow truck and making it look like we filmed all this stuff that happened at first, but that never came to the light of day because we never released it. So we did a lot that y'all didn't see.
Let's get going into 2012.
Okay.
So now you've got Team Tracker going. You're doing shows almost every night with the group.
Yeah, that was
Tons of people watching you every night, talking about going out, catching the big one, what have you.
Well,
I want, what's the timeline of when you decided to pick up and go? How did San Antonio come about? What
2000. Well, I was like involved with a lot of stuff regarding TVs, the film companies, the production companies, and stuff. And in 2009, Minnow Films wanted to start to make a documentary about a hoaxer and the life of hoaxing. And they came to me, and I agreed to do it. Unbeknownst to me, that Tom Biscardi was involved. They was going to follow him too, and Dallas and Wayne. And there was 2 or 3 other Bigfoot hunters that they also followed, but they never made the documentary. And that's how it started. So when they contacted me, I'm like, it was a hoax, right? Yeah, but we want to follow you. And so the video or the documentary was a big thing to just make fun of us and just make fun of the Bigfoot hunters. And when I saw that, I saw a opportunity of getting things back going in 2009. So but from 2000 and like most people don't know that 2009 to 2012 we filmed. 2009 to 2012 we filmed this documentary. It was a long process. It definitely wasn't overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I decided to put together Team Tracker. And Team Tracker was a team And I'm going to be perfectly honest, and I hope that I don't offend anyone here. I mean, but uh, I seek people for Bigfoot that didn't have much going for them in their lives. And the reason I did that, because I thought in my mind that money would bring loyalty. And I was absolutely right. Money did bring loyalty till the money ran it. And throughout my time with Team Tracker Bigfoot, they was loyal. Every one of them was loyal until the money ran out. Andrew Clacy was absolutely one loyal guy.
He came all the way from Australia, correct?
All the way from Australia. I paid for his ticket. He didn't pay for anything. So it was a free trip. And he got money. But my mistake was, here's my mistake. And I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but here's my mistake in 2012. When these people came, this Andrew Clacy and this, I forgot his damn name, but he was from Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
Link
I couldn't
Paul.
find his,
Link Paul. I asked him, I said, do you want to be paid a lump sum up front or after the tour? Both of them chose a lump sum up front. And I believe it was $12,000 to $15,000 a piece plus all expenses. And no one had no idea how big the tour was going to be when we were stuffing money in a bus cabinet and it wouldn't fit. So we, like I'm talking about, the tour made probably $500,000.
Holy shit.
And I came up with an idea of selling my DVDs. I put them on the side of the tour bus and I said, meet Rick Dyer and get a signed copy of his DVD for $20. All you got to do is honk your horn. And it took us freaking forever to get across the country because so many people were stopping. And that's another thing. No one knew who I was. No one cared who I was. But the thing is, if you, I don't know the word for it, but if you make yourself important, if you present yourself as super important, like putting wraps on cars, that's why I put wraps on every single car I had when it came to Bigfoot, because people see that. And people see that, oh, this guy's been on the Discovery Channel. This guy's been in movies. Oh my God, he is somebody important. I don't know who he is, but guess what? I'm going to know who he is. But if you portray yourself as being somebody important, people are going to stop. And people are going to stop you, and people are going to open their wallets. And that is why we sold DVDs after DVDs after DVDs. So many DVDs we had to. We started with like 400 DVDs, and they sold quickly. And we had to stop at Best Buy and buy a burner and keep burning the DVDs, calling print companies in Las Vegas and paying them like triple to print the DVD covers. It was absolutely crazy. And I see some people saying, about my reputation and all that. Oh my God, folks, you have no idea. I would do it again. I only have gained from this. I have not lost. And I know that's a tough pill for people to swallow, but you're not going to find me home sitting here and crying and saying, oh, oh, I made all that money with Bigfoot. I feel so bad. I don't feel bad. Because in my mind, I earned it. And let me tell you something. When I was doing the tour, which we will get into it in a second, so many people come up to me and be happy to pay for two people $40 to go in the trailer and see a dead fake Bigfoot. And they tell us, we know it's bullshit, but we have to come and see. It was entertainment. And that's why Texas Monthly said that I was the modern day P.T. Barnum. And I take that as probably the biggest compliment ever. I'm not sitting here and crying and sad about what I'm sitting here crying and sad about is what could I have done to make more money? Like there was people that was paying me $15,000 for an interview. I did one for Australia. It was Australia, and it was live. And I went to Vegas, and I went in the studio, and they showed me live in Australia from Vegas, and they paid me $15,000 to do it. And then after that was done, another Australian show paid me $10,000 to come on. Like, it was crazy. It was absolutely insane. So I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. I loved it. I loved the attention.
And coming up with the stories, coming up with the whole, how you were moshing everything together. The San Antonio trip, BBC, you had Morgan Matthews out there with you. And all that stuff happened with the homeless people and your ribs on the tree. And
here's what you're missing about San Antonio and about the documentary. You have to keep in mind that Morgan Matthews is an award-winning documentary filmmaker. And I believe that he's either the top filmmaker in the UK or the second. Morgan Matthews is a no-nonsense kind of person. Zero. And Morgan Matthews, it is against film rules to fake or lie about a documentary. It's just against the damn rules. So for those of you who thinks that Morgan Matthews or any of his crew had anything to do with that what happened in those woods are sadly mistaken. He would never put his career on the line for me or anyone else. But what happened in those woods is truly amazing. And you're talking about, over the years, I have learned some tracking skills. And what happened in San Antonio was not just luck. Morgan Matthews says, "Where are you going next?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, so I researched the best place or a recent sighting for a Bigfoot. And what I came across was a 911 call from a homeless girl. And in this phone call, it said that there was basically Bigfoot dragging a deer carcass across the street. It had nothing to do with me. I didn't know the people or anything like that. It was them. So I myself and Morgan Matthews did what other Bigfoot hunters could not do. Other Bigfoot hunters tried to go out there and find their homeless camp. They could not find it. I went out there. I found their homeless camp. Not only found their homeless camp, I friended the couple. The lady called 911, but she had a dude living with her, homeless, in a homeless camp in San Antonio. I found the camp. I befriended them. And it's really hard for a homeless person to invite you in their camp. I don't know if y'all know anything about the homeless, but I found out a lot about that when I was there. So he invited us, and he invited us to stay around his camp so we can see the Bigfoot herself. He told us that they come all the time. They're not scared of people there. So I put two and two together. I said, that makes perfect sense. I said, look, there's Bigfoot here. Okay, why aren't Bigfoot scared of the homeless guys? Because they basically, more or less, became Bigfoot, living in the woods all the time. And I believe that Bigfoot saw that, and I believe that Bigfoot, like that's why he wasn't scared of them. They didn't bother them, and vice versa. So I had other intentions. I wanted to kill it. I wanted to kill it. And I wanted to bring it back. So what I did was I went to Walmart, and I was thinking, what's close to a deer that I can get from Walmart? I got ribs. And then I got deer urine. Because the report said, guess what? He's dragging it across the road. Now, I had a question. Why did you call the police on Bigfoot if they're all around and you see them all the time? Because she said she physically saw the Bigfoot take a deer and rip it in half. And that was violent to her. And she got so scared, and that's why she called. But she didn't want to call and say, oh, it's Bigfoot, that she knows it's a Bigfoot. But she knew it when she called because she's been around them. So that cleared it up a little bit. But then I started to go hunt for evidence. And basically, I did find footprints. Not the footprints that everybody else brings to you. They were a little bit different. And not as big as some people would think. But you can tell it was a footprint. And I would say it's about maybe 15, 16 inches. But thick. Real thick. So we went to Walmart and we got ribs, hammer, nails, and deer urine. And we went back and we nailed we nailed the ribs to a tree, and we wanted it to come in. So we nailed it to a tree, and I was in my tent, changing my shirt, and actually, I'm not gonna lie, I took off my shirt and put the gun on my chest, and I took a picture of myself. That's why I was in the tent, and the picture is out there somewhere. Just Google it, and you'll see that picture. That is before I saw the Bigfoot. Now, I just got this 30-06. I actually bought the 30-06 in San Antonio, and I was filmed buying the 30-06 in San Antonio because my goal was to kill the Bigfoot. So I had the gun with me, and then the box of bullets I had was in the truck. So when you see the tent video is absolutely 100% a real Bigfoot. And it is so funny that everybody laughs that off when that tent video was 1,000% a Bigfoot. And I filmed it through the tent in broad daylight. And what he was doing is he was eating the ribs there. It's amazing how technology works now. You see the Bigfoot there? The ribs is attached to that tree. And he is over there eating the ribs. That is a real Bigfoot. Nobody in the costume. That's at the homeless camp in broad daylight. It is what it is. You didn't believe me then. You're not going to believe me now. I'm just telling you the way it is. Also, like if someone actually like zoomed in and stuff and just broke it down, and they said absolutely it's just the faces and the muscles move, and there's no way that you could fake that. Zero. That is real, and that's why I laugh sometimes when I see it online and stuff, but that's real because people think it's not, and that's one of the best videos that we have of an actual Bigfoot.
That stirred on a mass amount of people looking for that mask online.
Yeah, there's no way that they can find it because it is a real Bigfoot. You have to go and kill a Bigfoot to get that mask. So what happened while we were filming? Me and Morgan Matthews did not see eye to eye on things. Okay. Mm-hmm. I eventually got my gun and I loaded it, and we was going to wait to nightfall, and we was going to take one down outside of San Antonio. Did that happen? No, it did not. We did see one again. Everything that you see in shooting Bigfoot with me and the Bigfoot and Morgan Matthews there is absolutely real. His film crew basically did not want to stay in the homeless camp. So it was me and Morgan Matthews in the homeless camp. And the Bigfoot came back. And I shot at the Bigfoot. I believe I hit the Bigfoot. And then a Bigfoot actually attacked Morgan Matthews.
Okay, let's see if I can bring this up.
And when the Bigfoot attacked Morgan Matthews, and I was off chasing the other Bigfoot, which I did not find, but I believe I shot him. Now, when we came back, Morgan Matthews' face was bloody, like something happened. Maybe the camera hit him. Something happened, and I also pushed him down when we were fighting over the gun because I was shooting and he was trying to grab the gun that I was shooting with, and that got out of hand. But when I got back to the tent, I helped him back to the tent. I tried to get the camera because I wanted the footage of this. And he wasn't having it. And what people don't understand is myself and Morgan Matthews, we don't like each other. But I was holding basically it hostage. And he did wind up having to wire me some money before we left those woods. Because that film there is the absolute. Now, not only that, like there's a whole video of Bigfoot walking and stuff. It is absolutely amazing. That is absolutely real. Now, let's move on from that and I did some, or tried to do some underhanded stuff to try to get Morgan Matthews to actually talk about this. And that's when the second hoax was created. And this is the first time I have ever said anything about this. This is the first time I've ever told the absolute truth when it came to what exactly happened with Morgan Matthews, because for a long time there was money on the line, and now there's no more royalties, no more nothing. I signed all that away. And to this day, this is the most watched, highest rated documentary on Discovery Channel or BBC that has to do with paranormal or Bigfoot. It has been on the Discovery Channel a total of 47 times since then. So that's what happened there. Now, what happened after that? Well, Team Tracker came full together, and I wanted to push out the cash cow as much as I could. And that's why when people gave me a lie detector test, I passed it. Did you shoot a Bigfoot in September of 2012? Yes. I passed that because I did. But the rest was bullshit. There's no body. There's nothing in a school or wherever.
Yeah. Somewhere in Washington or somewhere you took it to.
But here's something that happened. The government knew something happened, and they did pay myself and my wife a visit. And they're not aliens dressed up in suits. They're real people. And they just wanted to go over everything that happened in the woods in San Antonio. And I told them exactly what happened in the woods in San Antonio. And this is before the tour. This was almost directly after, and it was pretty freakish to be in that spot where people are asking you about Bigfoot and they're not laughing, they're not snickering, and they know Bigfoot is.
Oh.
And and that's crazy. And then the tour. The tour, I knew that I could not go with a suit this time. I had to get a professional to make a body. And I found a guy in Spokane, Washington, and I paid him $5,000, I believe, $5,000 to make a Bigfoot body. But my instructions were I need to make it look real, to be real hair, not synthetic hair. I need real hair. So when you burn it, it smells like hair being burned. And it was absolutely crazy. It was that building up to that was absolutely crazy. I sold a gun to these guys. I sold the 30-06 cheap, super cheap, that actually shot the Bigfoot. And it is, it's crazy. Now, it'd been a lot better if people actually believed me, but it was a great experience. The tour, no one in my inner circle thought the tour would make any money. We left Las Vegas, we went to Phoenix, and we was turned around as we were going to Phoenix because we had a spot booked in some crypto something. And somebody called and complained that we were coming there. And they rejected us after we reserved the spot and everything. And that was the absolute best thing they could have done. I wanted to kiss them. At the end of the tour, I wanted to kiss them. At that time, I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, what? Oh, and it was what's his name? It was Randy Filipovic. Randy Racer X.
Yes.
This guy here, that guy was my nemesis there. But he was on point, and we were going back and forth like crazy. It was absolutely fantastic looking back now. There, I'm like, oh my God, he made me a nervous wreck. But looking back, it was absolutely fantastic. But he, no one should mess with Randy Filipovic. If Randy Filipovic is on you, you better run the other way. But Randy was great. But all the hate towards me, every place that I was going, Phoenix, Albuquerque, they would call before and say, don't believe this guy. He's a hoaxer, blah, 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 blah. The body ain't real. But one reporter calls us and she says, I've got to hear this story because there's people calling us and telling us to pay you no attention. But we're not going to do that. We're going to pay you attention because we need some good news. And we met her in the parking lot of a zoo in Albuquerque, and she did a story. And when that story hit, it blew up. We were booked from Albuquerque all the way to Florida. We were booked at the Alamo Draft House, show after show after show. I did a lot of charity work. We raised probably $30,000 or $40,000 in San Antonio with Armando Motologo from Flip This House. We raised money with him for kids. We did a lot of good stuff too. But I made good money then. I made really good money. And remember those guys that I paid that took that early payoff? They were pissed now because I'm bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars and they only got 12 to 15. Andrew Clacy got a little more because he stuck it out with me until the end. But basically all of them. That picture was a freaking good time there. Basically all of them left when the money stopped. They couldn't get back home fast enough. When they found out that no more money was coming in to them, they're gone. Like if you look behind me there, you see the truck, the trailer, the bus, all that stuff was not cheap. And it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it ended in Daytona Beach, Florida. And by that time it died down and we only made probably 30 or 35,000 in Daytona Beach during bike week. And but that's the wrong place to take a dead Bigfoot or a fake dead Bigfoot is around a bunch of bikers. I tell you that. But
so what was your estimated take home for that whole entire thing? That whole 2012?
over $500,000. Well over. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was well over 500,000.
So when did you make the Hank again? Was it right after your San Antonio or was it during?
No, it was after the San Antonio.
How much did he cost you?
5,000. And it wasn't a whole body. Like it was like half. It looks like a whole body, but it was like split by the ears, just like if you turned him over, it was flat.
Oh, the bottom side, the underside.
Yeah. And I sold that for $10,000 after it was all said and done to Mr. Nice Guy's Wellness Center, a marijuana place in Denver, Colorado.
So he still exists over there.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to go to the chat.
Okay.
And any questions? Go ahead and put your questions in caps for me. They're asking what you're doing now.
Right now I'm just chilling out. Just chilling out, doing a little bit of here and there things and working on something great.
There's more questions about the tent video. Why didn't you film it from outside the tent?
I was absolutely terrified. Like, I was terrified. It's not because it's not another lie. Like if you want lies, then you're at the wrong place. I'm telling you like it is, man. If you don't believe me, that's on you. I have nothing to gain now. Like, shoot. People are saying, "Oh, it's your reputation." Well, I just got done filming a movie again, and then I was in a movie with Tom Green and Les Stroud, and Stacey Brown, called "Interviewing Monsters and Bigfoot," and got paid well there, and I play myself. So
Right.
I enjoy this, and the movie that I just got through filming now with Cuba Gooding Jr. I play myself. So there you go.
We've had a little bit of something come up right now, and I'm going to ask. I've got Mr. Steve Coles wanting to come on the show.
Sure. I think that's a great idea.
Okay. So let me get that sent to him. And let's see if he got that.
Now this is going to be the best show ever.
I'm a little bit nervous right now, folks.
Is there any way that we can extend this to?
Oh, yeah. We can keep going.
All right.
Okay, yeah, it got sent. I thought I sent it to the wrong place. Okay, everybody. Welcome, Mr. Steve Coles, to the show. Welcome to Hairyman, Hoaxes, and Hoodwinks.
Hey, what's going on? Let me just clear my video up a second here. There we go. All right.
Ooh, almost lost you all. Okay.
So what's going on? This is very interesting to see. Rick. Hello, Rick.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey. So, somebody had mentioned something about you saying I was involved in the 2008 Bigfoot body hoax. Kind of interested to see how I was involved, that you said that I was involved in, because I kind of missed it. So I would like to hear you to tell me.
Well, here it is, Steve, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Well, hold on. I don't know what you're talking about. So let's clarify that right up front.
Well, evidently, this is going to be a little hostile because I can tell that you're on the defense.
No, I'm not on the defense.
You are
I'm going to go on
on
the
the
offense
defense.
very soon, sir. So I'm just asking
you're
you
on
what you said,
the
because when you
defense
name
because
drop me,
you don't like
I don't like what?
people to
Lying
tell
about
the
me?
truth.
No, lying
There
about
is
me.
no lie. We did
No.
not know
Listen,
about.
son. Listen, son.
No. We did
Listen.
not know
I had
about
nothing.
Tom
Listen.
Biscardi until you, Steve Coles, introduced us to Tom Biscardi.
Okay, so
You
stop right
did that.
there. Stop right there. But didn't you call Tom Biscardi first?
I did not.
Don't lie.
call Tom,
Don't
no.
lie, Rick. Don't
No,
lie. You
no,
did. You
absolutely
did.
not.
You did.
We didn't know
You
no one,
did.
Steve.
You
Steve,
did.
we knew
Because you know
no
why,
one
son?
in the Bigfoot community.
Yeah. Do
We
you know
didn't
why,
know
son?
anyone.
Because
How
Biscardi
in the
called
hell
me
did we call
first.
Tom
He
Biscardi?
called me
This
first
was
and told
all
me that you had
planned
called
during
him.
your radio show. You said beforehand you're going to introduce us to Tom.
No, absolutely
and
not.
that's what happened.
Oh yeah, why don't you listen to it again, Rick? You said you wanted to talk to him, and that's the funny thing about that. The day of that show, you're
That
gonna
was
let me
all
finish. You're gonna
planned.
listen. You
That
already
was
had
all planned, Steve.
zip.
Yeah, that was all planned.
Oh, it was all planned. Where's your proof?
Did you do
Where's
the
your proof?
contracts
Where's
with
your
us?
proof? Where's your proof?
Did you
Where's
do-
your proof?
Did you
Where's
do the
your proof?
contracts?
What contract? That
So
it says I was introduced?
so
You know
you
what? I
didn't-
didn't write that contract, did I?
So you didn't know contracts.
Huh?
You didn't know contracts.
I did no contracts.
You're a liar. You're
No,
full
you're
of
a
shit,
liar.
dude.
Where's
You're
your proof?
full-
Show me.
Hell
Hold on, son.
Yeah, oh, come on, Steve.
Okay, Rick.
Come on, Steve.
Rick,
Look,
why don't you
look,
tell? Why
Let's
don't you?
just get it out in the open.
Okay, let's get it out
Let's
open.
get
Shut
it
your
out
mouth
in the
and let me
open.
talk.
Okay,
Shut your fat
guys,
mouth
guys.
and
It
let me
doesn't
talk.
matter now.
You know,
Everything
Nikki,
is done.
can you mute him for a second and let me get my side of the story
Everything
out?
is over with. It doesn't matter that you were involved. Everything
But
is
I
over
wasn't
with.
involved.
Everything
The
is
only involvement
done.
I ever was I had you on a podcast where you lied.
Everything is done. Everything is over with. I didn't know no one until you introduced us, man.
Bullshit.
Dude,
Bullshit.
that whole radio show.
Bullshit. And I have the proof, son. I have the proof.
That whole radio show. Look.
Oh, you want to go radio
Look,
show, Rick.
It
Radio
doesn't-
show, Rick.
it
Radio
doesn't
show, Rick.
matter
Rick,
now, Steve.
what are you doing now,
Steve,
Rick?
Steve,
What are you doing now?
It doesn't.
What are you doing now?
Absolutely. What does it matter if I'm doing something now?
You know why? Because, son, I'll tell you why.
Why?
I know why you're getting back into Bigfoot. I know why.
I'm not
because
getting back into Bigfoot.
Because your ass has been kicked out of the car business.
I'm not getting back into Bigfoot.
And then what are you doing on the show?
And
Because I asked him to come and tell his
Right,
story of the
and of course-
2008 and
And of course,
2012.
Rick is going to say what he says.
No.
But Nikki, the fact is this man here is a con artist. Okay, he has been sued for $200,000 on a default judgment for ripping off his investor over an auto business sale. The man right now is running. Okay, running. You have
running.
Okay.
Running.
So,
Oh,
yeah, you're
my
running
goodness.
because you know what?
You know absolutely
his house has been taken.
Nothing.
His house has
you
been
know
taken
absolutely nothing. Yes, I was sued, but you know absolutely nothing about
really?
nothing.
Really? Did you win or lose, Rick?
It never finished.
It finished. You have a default judgment.
See, this is you deflecting.
Oh, I'm not deflecting.
We are here.
I'm just pointing out what kind of individual that Nikki has on her show.
You are right. I'm a bad guy, but it doesn't.
Okay, so you know what? You have proven over and over again that you have lied.
You did this,
okay,
buddy.
You can't even show up.
You did this. What?
You can't even show up to court.
That is such bullshit.
You have been found in contempt of court, son.
That is bullshit.
Really?
That I did not show up.
Do you want me to pull up the court records? Because I have them right here in front of me.
Okay.
Evidently, you don't know.
You know what? I'm not interested in what Rick Dyer does on the other side of his life.
Well, you should.
I didn't bring him on my show to do that.
Nikki, because you know what? He is a
I
liar
know he lies.
Oh,
I know that. Everybody knows that. He's a hoaxer. That's why I brought him on my show. Hairyman.
I am a hoaxer, 1,000%.
He's a hoaxer. He's a known hoaxer, and I wanted him to tell his story so that I could talk to him about that. I don't care about his 100 car dealerships that have done
Well,
whatever.
you should
Yeah,
because it's all
yes,
No,
relevant.
I don't
Nikki.
care about
It's all
that.
Actually,
relevant.
200,000.
Just like the guy who put the photo
200,000.
out there that was a child molester. This is all
200.
relevant. What he does in the background is very relevant to what he's doing in the foreground here about Bigfoot. That's his character. Okay, the
Steve,
character is he's a
Steve,
liar.
Steve.
But
He's
I
a
already know
scammer.
his
Steve,
character.
and your
Right.
character
Everybody
is
already
I
an
knows.
understand, but you're
undercover
allowing him
liar.
to name
At least
drop
I
people.
can come out and say, hey, yes, I am a liar. I am a hoax. But you have to build yourself up.
Oh, I don't
as
have to build
this
myself
great
up
guy.
anything, son.
And the thing is, you're not this great guy because
Oh, I am a
you
great
was
guy.
involved in the 2008 hoax.
No, I wasn't, you
110%.
piece of.
You did the
You know what?
contracts. You introduced us to
Are you
Tom
okay?
Biscardi,
I'll let
blah,
Fat
blah,
Mouth
blah,
talk.
blah, blah. And that's what you do. Period. That's what you do. So if
No.
you come on here,
Oh, here he is. Look how mad he's
to
getting.
deflect,
Ooh, he's getting
that's
mad.
fine.
He's
Go
so
ahead and
angry.
deflect.
He's so
But
angry
the
because
thing
he
is,
knows that
it
he's lying
is
about that.
what it
If I
is.
was so involved, why did he have me down there in Georgia to give me the receipt for the freezer? If I was so involved,
You
why did he
asked
give
me
me the
to.
contracts?
You
If
asked
I
me
if
to.
I signed one,
You
why,
asked me
Rick?
to.
Why, Rick? Why, Rick?
You
You know
asked
why?
me
Because
to.
it's how the wind blows. It's how
That's
you're
why
going to
you
try to
asked
gain
me to,
traction again. Well,
Steve.
it ain't going to work, son.
You
It
asked
ain't
me.
going to work.
No one is trying to get anything to work. Just like I said on as soon as I came on the show, I don't want to throw nobody under the bus. I'm going to
But
tell
you
you
don't want to throw
exactly
anybody under the
how
bus,
it
but you're the
happened.
first person to do that. You're the first person to do that, Nick. Huh?
I
You're the first
told
person to do that.
you
You know that
exactly
there's
how
only
it
one
happened.
other man
The
behind
thing
this,
is,
and
you
that's Tom
introduced us
Biscardi,
to
and
Tom
that's it.
Biscardi. You introduced us. You
I didn't.
introduced us to Tom
I
Biscardi.
did not. You called
You
him
did
first.
all the contracts between myself and Tom
Excuse me.
Biscardi.
Hold on. Stop that
Period.
again.
Period.
Roll that through again.
You did all the contracts between myself and Tom Biscardi, and you introduced us to Tom Biscardi.
Okay, hold on. Stop.
Did I ever say that Steve Coles
Okay,
said
so
that he was involved? Steve Coles have never admitted that he was involved.
I wasn't
Never.
involved. How was I involved? Other than, hold on. This is very clear, Rick, and you know this. Okay. Biscardi calls me at 5 o'clock in the morning and asks me to type something out. The contracts. Did I ever sign one? No.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
All right. So I was in the dark, and you know, when we had that
But Tom
conversation.
Biscardi called you and asked you to type out a contract, right?
So, Rick.
Okay. So I'm not lying.
You and I had a discussion back. Remember December of 2008, right? We had a discussion. And remember, we had found out how Biscardi was playing you against me and me against you and everything. Remember, we had that discussion. And then you said, hey, come on down to Georgia. I'll show you everything. Right?
You asked me if you could come down to Georgia.
No.
And then I
didn't
showed
ask
you everything.
You invited
and I
me.
took you around in Georgia and showed you everything.
Right.
I am saying, here's what I'm saying, Steve. I am saying that you did the contracts, okay? And then you introduced us to Tom Biscardi. We did not know who no one was, bro.
But you did. You asked me. You'd like to right on the show. You asked me who's Tom Biscardi.
Yes,
you said that, right?
Yes,
right.
True.
Okay.
But that
and
was
you
planned.
Knew. So
True,
obviously, if you knew Tom Biscardi, you might have known
that
I knew him.
That was planned. Yeah, let's re-listen to that radio show.
So now you're telling me that was planned.
And if Tom Biscardi was a bad guy to you, then you would have told us that on the radio show. Everything was planned. That radio show was planned. Bro, I'm not here to throw you under the bus. I'm just saying, hey, this is what happened. And this is exactly what happened. You did the contracts. I didn't lie about that. You introduced us to Tom Biscardi. Okay. I did not lie about that. Did you ever
not earlier say
did
I sign a contract?
Did you ever? I never said that you signed a contract.
Okay.
No. Never. Not one time.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair then. That's fair. You're right. I did write the contracts because I get a call from Biscardi at 5 o'clock in the morning. And because he's like, I got nobody on the West Coast, because on the West Coast, it would have been 2 a.m. So that's why he called me, because he knew I'd be up and around. So I did, and I sent it off, and that was the last I heard of it. And that was the last I heard of anything. So understand that.
And I didn't talk to you again until the end of the hoax.
Well, at the end of 2008. Really?
That's exactly what I've been saying.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So
Right,
this is
Nick?
good. So
That's
this is good.
exactly what I've been saying.
So listen, we're on the same page with a lot of this stuff, I think. All right. And you know what? I give you credit that when I came down to Georgia, that you had told me how it was done, what was done. I always give you credit for that. Right. And then 2012 happened. Right. And that's where we kind of fell apart, you and I. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
Look,
and you know what? I think if you had 2012 to do over again, you probably wouldn't have tried to burn me. I really think that, because you would have sent me up to the Hollywood sign and left me out there when you were nowhere in town.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And that's what caused the bad blood. Now I can forgive that. I can forgive that because I'm a little smarter than that, and you know that.
Hey, what happened is I told him, or I asked him, or I asked someone.
You made a challenge to say, I challenge so and so and so and so and so to come out here.
I challenge so and so to come out to California and see the baby Bigfoot that eats hamburgers, right? And then one guy drove halfway across the country and you flew. But that's what happened, right or not?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, that's in like the Reader's Digest version. And it was kind of funny because he's like, no. And luckily I had a couple of people that were in California that were coming too. And so I'm on the phone with them. I call them. I said, you know what? Let's just hang out and confirm everything. And then Rick tried, and it was kind of funny because Rick tried to burn, and it was a bad move because a lot of his followers, after they got pissed at Rick, because they were believing it too. And Rick trying to burn me, and I'm like at a bar with my friends. I'm like, hey, what's going on? We're
a free trip to California.
Free trip to California. Here I am having drinks. We went to get In-N-Out Burger, and I was back at home like 4 or 5 hours later, whatever.
The other guy went to the Hollywood sign, or closest he could get to it.
But that's
I think you went to Disneyland too, or something like that. You made some big, thing about it.
But still, that was kind of wrong. Sending people, but is what it is.
Hey, look, you know exactly what you're doing, and it was a big fight between me, Steve Coles, Randy Filipovic, just a lot of people, and a lot of people was vicious, and
you were too. You were too.
Yeah, true.
You were too.
True. Look. Like I said, when this video first started, I did not come on here to bash anyone.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I am just saying my perspective of what happened, and I told it. Period.
But you also said this too. If I hadn't gone to Indiana, that hoax probably would have been pulled off.
Oh, okay. Here is what I know. Tom Biscardi told me 100% that you were involved. Okay. Mm-hmm. Tom Biscardi told me that you wanted too much money. And if he didn't pay him, that this hoax was going to be let out of the bag. That's exactly what I was told.
Okay. Then, do you, Rick? Do you really believe that? Knowing me, come on, you know me.
Look, knowing you, no. But hold on. Hold on. But giving all of the things that happen, I don't know. And
right,
like if you've got to put yourself in my shoes, man. I was told a lot of stuff. I was told that you did the contracts, which you did. and where me and you are differing is the only thing that me and you are differing about is who introduced us to Tom Biscardi. But Steve, I am here to say that we knew nobody in the Bigfoot community. We were new to the Bigfoot community. And I don't know if you forgot or what's up, because you said that you used to work for this guy and this and that. And that's how we intertwined with Tom Biscardi. Like, I have nothing to gain to tell you this. I have nothing at all to gain. I am not coming back in the Bigfoot community. I was asked to do this show.
Okay, fair enough.
By Nikki.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Now, and I'm glad that you came on. What you said in the beginning and trying to throw me under the bus is bullshit, because I'm currently in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So that's done. But as far as me being on the run for what? Like, my current job, like, I can't tell you my current, like, I tell you in privately my current job. Okay, but my current job has to have a clear criminal background and a good driving record.
Right. And I'm not saying you have a criminal record. Not saying that. Not saying you have a bad bad driving record. I'm not saying that at all. All right. And I'll say that you have no criminal record. I can say that. You know what? Okay. So you're not the world's greatest businessman sometimes. I get that. Right. I get that. Right. Neither am I. I had a good PI business and COVID wiped it out.
Oh, so, shit.
Yeah. I had four attorneys I was working for, if I just go off kilter second. And Rick, COVID came along and I was working with a lot of attorneys that were working as property management, and that whole thing killed it because of New York with the eviction bans and stuff like that. So yeah, that went bye-bye. So who knew? So I
need
get
a Snapple. We all need a Snapple.
Look,
a Snapple, we do.
Hey, but this is the best show. Hey, no one has ever got myself and Steve Coles on live together. No one.
Except
me.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, me too.
Yeah, but again, like,
Rick, I don't know if you know, I tried reaching out to you about a year ago, but none of your phone numbers worked. None of your emails worked.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
I
had
did
the
try
same
reaching
one
out.
for about 5 years.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Aren't we friends on Facebook?
I don't think so after 2012.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's how I got a hold of you, was through Facebook.
But if you're not coming back, I can always, like I said, I don't hate people a lot of times, and you know that, Rick. I don't hate people. I don't hate you. What are you gonna do? But
you fucked up, Rick. You messed up a lot of people,
Yeah.
by your hoaxes. I mean, I'm gonna go out and say that, because a lot of people gave you their money, and I mean, I didn't take my money because I knew, but you don't feel bad at all for any of that. Lady giving Rick
I
Dyer.
will tell you that a lot of innocent people gave me their money. That is not the case. Okay, the only people that really gave me that are not innocent or is not guilty of something is the people on the tour, and half of them, like, come on now, it's a half of a Bigfoot in a trailer.
Well, see, there's some things that Rick doesn't know about the hoax that I had found out afterwards. Like the 50 large, the 50,000 he was given, allegedly came from Bill Lett, and you remember that?
Yeah.
Rick? Yeah. Yep.
The loan shark.
The loan shark, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it was a loan to Biscardi.
Oh, really?
Yes, that was the contention. And how the criminal case fell apart in that was that it was actually Biscardi that would have had to have bring the charges. And I know if you knew that.
No, that isn't true because
No, it's very true, Rick.
No,
I have
no,
the
no.
Rick,
Nope.
hold on, Rick. Before you say what you think you know, I have the complete 89-page police report.
My attorney.
I don't care what your attorney says.
No. Look. You're gonna have to prove that. That there you will have to prove because there is no absolutely
Okay,
no
so
way.
no, with the memo said between the
He
police
said
captain. Hold on.
Everybody was involved, and he
Nope.
also said
Nope.
that Tom Biscardi tried to sell or put it in a museum or try to sell the
Okay,
costume.
that was part of it. That's eventually would drop the end case. The real reason which delayed everything was this, because I have it right here, Rick. This is all 89 pages, everything you have, right? And I know this because I wrote a book on it. What happened was this, is the captain writes his supervisor or the ADA or whoever was that and said, listen, there is a dispute right now that, Bill Lett was the one who came forward to try to press the criminal charges. The problem is that it was a loan. So technically it wasn't Bill Lett's money. However, Biscardi, the only thing Biscardi has ever written, now mind you this, there were statements from Bill Lett, there were statements from Bob Schmalzbach, there were statements from TJ Biscardi, but there was no statement ever from Tom Biscardi. Zero. And he had the most interaction with you guys. And that also leads to me to his complicity in this. Okay. You get what I'm saying? So they were kind of stymied. We really have no criminal charge here because the person who actually is responsible for the money, Tom Biscardi, is not making any statement. So then a little while later, the eBay sale by Joshua Warren comes up on eBay,
yes,
right?
eBay sale, yes.
Right. And then what had happened is the captain spoke to Biscardi, who said, well, and you're going to laugh at this. This is how the memo reads. Biscardi first claimed that he knew nothing about it. Oh, I don't know nothing about it. But then he went on to brag how much money it was up to. And then the captain said, well, which shows he knows about the auction. And then the day after that, the entire thing was dropped. So yeah, absolutely. So now so that's the real truth of it. I mean, come on, Rick, you know me, I dig. And I had actually FOIL requested the entire police report.
Well, that is what my attorney said. My attorney said that, everybody was involved, and that's why they dropped it. And
that might be the Reader's Digest. That might be the Reader's Digest version. Is listen, the DA is like, oh, all these guys know what's going on, so we're dropping it. Yeah. And that's I know how the breakdown gets sometimes between different agencies and different attorneys are like, listen, we're just going to drop this thing because of this. That's it. But if you look at the meat of the matter, you can see the cops are like scratching their head, going, well, how and that's why it got dropped. So, and the funny thing is not once did they ever ask me for a statement.
Really?
So, yeah, I never got asked for a statement. So, I mean, it was really an interesting breakdown. So that's what had happened. And about 6 or 7 months afterwards, I had gotten an interview request from the Sacramento Bee, who had interviewed Tom Biscardi about the hoax, implicating you guys and saying how he was going to sue you. So then they interviewed me for comment, and I turned around and told the Sacramento Bee, basically, well, I've checked the records. There's no lawsuit. There's no intent of lawsuit to be filed on Biscardi against you guys at all. So what he's saying is not true. So it kind of, that whole article got squashed. So yeah, there was a lot of juxtapositioning by Biscardi to try to make himself look good and avoid being involved in this. And I'm sitting there, basically sticking the hornet's nest with a stick. And then here's another thing, and this is something, Nikki, you'll find interesting, is a lot of people think that Tom Biscardi was in it for, to make Bigfoot hoaxes or whatever. And I had said this in my book when I wrote it in 2010. that from the appearances of it, searching for Bigfoot at the time is nothing but a Ponzi scheme. And because I knew, and what Rick doesn't know, but a lot of people that were behind me knows is that I had worked for Searching for Bigfoot as a contractor to evaluate forensic evidence. But in actuality, what I was there is I was actually observing the operation. And I had gotten certain financial records serendipitously from Bob Schmalzbach. And that's how I learned that they were using some new investment money to pay off old investors, which by definition is a Ponzi scheme. As it turned out, in 2010, towards the end of 2010, their CFO, David Nielsen, who was the CFO for Searching for Bigfoot, was who owned a mortgage company in the San Francisco Bay Area, had been indicted on 31 counts, which resulted basically a Ponzi scheme. So their own CFO on his own business got nailed for a Ponzi scheme. And either he's in or was, but he ended up getting like an 8-year sentence in federal prison. So towards the end of 2010, beginning of 2011, Nielsen resigns from Searching for Bigfoot, but yet Biscardi enters a foreign domestic corporation with David Nielsen. Now,
well, since you know this, or know so much about that, okay, could Tom Biscardi could have paid the $50,000 himself, right?
I doubt it.
Really?
Yeah, because his money is based on what the investors pay. So that may be at the time in 2008 when this had occurred. There was a period of time where nothing was going on. I think their last Bigfoot. See, anytime when Biscardi would go on expedition, his team would go out. It generally meant that somebody gave him money. He got an investor to cough up some money so that he can take a portion of that and send the team out to do their thing to get more whatever evidence, right? And the only time Biscardi would ever show up on these missions was if the press was coming out. He would fly in, make his little appearance, and then take off. And truthfully, he was miserable. The whole event, anytime he would show up, it would be miserable for everybody because he was like, TJ, get my bags. He could never do anything for himself. He was never wrong, any of that. So that was the basis. But what he was doing a lot of times is the investment money he was getting was for museums. And these museums never, ever propagated. I remember
So he
meeting him.
never owned a part of a dinosaur?
Well, there are a couple of things that are very, very interesting. And it's funny you should say that about the dinosaur, because as much as I was, involved with Searching for Bigfoot, it was actually Rick who had gotten the business plan from Biscardi because I had never seen one. Rick had it. And I remember them walking around with it, but I never actually got my eyes on it. So I get it. And yes, there's a mention of Cameron the dinosaur. It's a dinosaur fossil that belongs up in the Blackfeet tribe of Minnesota. I've actually seen the fossil myself. And what Biscardi was saying is that he agreed to buy it and he was trying to resell it, do like a flip. And what had actually happened was that Biscardi agreed to sell it for the Blackfeet tribe. So he never owned a part of it. That was the other interesting thing is in that property value of Searching for Bigfoot was this 9-foot skeleton. Back in I want to say 2006, 2005, late 2005, 2006, early 2007, they had been brought to an area which I learned now was actually southern Oklahoma, and they found this 9-foot skeleton. And there was a big outrage, including from Kathy Strain, who's an archaeologist with the Forestry Service. And they came out and said, we in no way disturbed it or touched it. We just took out a few small artifacts to test it, and that was it. But yet they're claiming that's on their inventory of items they have as property. So, but I've never seen it. So I don't know what the truth in that matter is, but it's really strange that they would claim that's their property if they just left it there like they said they did.
Cause that's what his thing was, that he said he was rich and he had this and he had that and he has a $3 million dinosaur leg and
Right.
yeah.
Right. So you understand that, listen, you guys were trying to pull a fast one. I think it was very small scale at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Then he becomes involved, and I think he's going to do the right thing because the last conversation I ever had with Biscardi before he talked to you, and that was really the last time I talked to anybody, was, well, I'm gonna give them a piece of their mind, and that was the last time I heard of that. And then he calls you and says something different.
I'm on a radio show.
I don't know if you caught that, Rick.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he calls you and he says, "What? I know what you ain't got real," because I remember this verbatim. I know what you ain't got real. What you have isn't real, but there's a way we can make money on all this. And I remember you telling me that, right?
Right. True.
Right. And then from there, he put that, he kept me out of it, kept us away from each other. Because remember you telling me he was telling you guys not to call me?
That's true.
Right.
True.
Right. And he was telling me at the same time, oh, these guys are very skittish. Don't talk to them. That, you'll scare them off and all this other stuff.
Yeah. I lie.
Right?
Like I told you before, I did not come on here to lie.
Okay.
I have nothing at all to gain from this show. Zero. Right. I came on here to tell the truth, and that's what I'm doing.
Fair enough. But now you have maybe you have some things that you didn't know all these years too, that hopefully you found rather interesting.
Yeah. And it's been a long time. It's been what, 12 years?
When we last talked, like 2012.
Yeah. You still look the damn same though.
Yeah. A little more gray, a little less teeth. You know how that goes.
I know how that goes.
Anybody have any last minute questions? Now's the time to do it before we wrap this shit up. Say it now. I'm exhausted and I have to pee. Let's see what we got. Nope, that's not for us. I think we're gonna. Donald said it'll be epic if I bring Tom Biscardi in right now.
That would never happen. I guarantee you.
I agree. That would never happen.
It would never happen, but I told them I don't want him to have a heart attack and be responsible.
I know when I talk to those mullets.
Off of there. Stuck. It is stuck. There it goes. Squatch Talk. Will you come on my show, Rick?
Absolutely.
Really? That's
whatever. I don't care. But the thing is, folks, that I am not coming back to Bigfoot in any way, shape, or form. That road is done. I will come on as a guest and talk about what I've been through and stuff, but as far as me going out on hunts and doing anything new hoaxes or anything, absolutely no.
So there was times where you made a video and then you made a big long post.
Because the heat was too hot. The heat was too hot. That's why.
Muzzy Allen. They're asking about Muzzy Allen. Was he the guy who was supposedly verified Hank or something?
Yeah. Muzzy Allen was definitely in. Like he went out there and we went out to eat and he had a couple beers and yeah, he was definitely on the second hoax, he was definitely the guy who verified it and blew it up.
And he was the guy with the criminal record.
Muzzy Allen, good God, yeah.
All right, folks. I want to tell you guys, thank you for coming on, Rick.
Oh, hang on, Nikki.
What-
There
what-
is a comment by Joe Shamrock. If
Oh,
Joe,
yeah?
if you
Gotcha.
listened, I thought Rick had said that I signed the contracts, not wrote the contracts. I did write those contracts at like 5 a.m, dictated to me. Wasn't like I created them, but they were dictated to me by Tom Biscardi.
Yeah,
but I never.
Steve Collins never signed any contracts
Thank you.
at all. I'm here to be perfectly honest, and that's what it is.
Yep.
And
because you knew exactly right away, Steve, that the whole thing was a sham.
No.
When did
I
that
thought-
happen
listen,
for you?
So I thought
Now
it
that I'm
was.
thinking about it.
But what happens is I get a phone call when Tom goes in and meets them and says, "Hey, I think what they have is real." Yada yada yada. And he goes, "Okay, well, you're on the ground, I'm not. Whatever." So then so how do you get to the end of this? Is you follow through with it. Remember the Daisy in the box thing is we put pressure on him. Hey, listen, we need to come down there in 7 days, or we're gonna. So then it came out it was a hoax. So the same thing. You can't just say, well, it's a hoax and walk away from it. So I have Biscardi telling me I think it's real. And then what the problem was Biscardi was calling me saying, well, my God, I saw it. You wouldn't believe it. I touched it, felt it, smelt it. And then he went on TV, national TV, prior to it all being unraveled, saying, oh, I touched it, felt it, smelled it. So I had really no clue. Truthfully, I was in a rough spot in my life. I was just after a divorce. So I wasn't, had many means to travel all over the country at that point in time. And, I'm just being told that, okay, it's real. And there was a big discussion, Tom lies. Yeah, I know Tom lies, but he's never lied to me, at least not to that extent. He may stretch the truth a bit, may say, oh, there's 1,000 people and there's 500, or there's 1,000 people, there's 100. But he would never say that's blue when it was green. So when he said, I think they have something, and he starts going through, and then I get the phone call and, oh yeah, we took the DNA today and all this other stuff. So I'm being fed this stuff by Tom. Now I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I have to. I can't say, oh, you're full of shit and walk away, because then I can't get to the truth. Because once you close that door, you're out of it. So I had to sit there. But did I promote it as being real? No, actually, I kept my mouth shut for, I kept my mouth shut. When that started, I didn't say nothing about that at all. I didn't promote it. I didn't say it was real. All I said is that we will get to the bottom of the truth, whether it's real or not. And that's the way I played it out the whole time after that point.
Gotcha.
I never ran around naked on an expedition. Never ran around naked.
Todd Standing, on the other hand.
What are your thoughts on Todd Standing?
Legit question as a hoaxer. What is your thoughts on Todd Standing? I don't know Todd Standing at all. I've never spoken to Todd Standing. But I did like the Bigfoot that he did close up, though. Like, come on, y'all. Those were really good. I don't know Todd Standing, so I can't speak on behalf of him. I only speak on people that I know personally, that I've actually met and shook their hand. Is he a hoaxer? Shit, I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
You know what I think. So, and I don't think anybody in that chat room doesn't know what I think about Ty. I've done enough on him.
Yeah, that's another guy who you don't want on your back is Steve Coles. Because Steve Coles, man, God Almighty, Steve Coles will not back down. Will not back down. Zero chances.
And we appreciate that.
Look,
We do.
I didn't come on here to fight with none of my old foes. I didn't come on here to badmouth none of my old foes. I didn't come on here to tell lies. I came on here to tell exactly what happened with me. And that's exactly what happened with me. And I told the truth. I don't have nothing. I'm not
The ghost.
I'm not trying to build up something back. Me and Bigfoot, it was fun. I made money. It's over. It's absolutely over with myself and Bigfoot. And the last people I want on my back is Randy Filipovic and Steve Coles.
Oh man, I didn't even think about getting Randy on here.
Oh my God. We're
Anyway,
friends now.
let's just wrap it up. I think we did what I intended to do. Steve was a surprise to come in, but you're always welcome here.
Thank you,
And
Nikki.
thank you to the chat. I didn't pay attention to all the shenanigans going on in there. I hope my moderators were fair. And just a quick reminder, next week is Squatchoween on my channel. So
I
come
got
back.
charm. Thanks, Squatch Talk. I appreciate it.
And
I got charm, baby.
I'm going to put you all in the back for a sec. Thank you, Mr. Dyer. Thank you, Steve. And thank you, everybody, for coming and watching Hairyman Hoaxes and Hoodwinks. And please like and share and tell people about me. So thank you.